Well, it's that time of the year again. Holy shit, it feels like yesterday was just Super Bowl 51, and later on tonight will be the kickoff game, and just like last year, I'm going to do my weekly NFL season picks for each week, and if any of you didn't see my predictions last year, I had overall a record of 157-97-2, which is a win percentage of 61-7, which of course I think that's the first time I've ever measured, so that's the measured stick based upon how I'll do this year. So we get the season started tonight with the kickoff game. Of course, that's the Chiefs going to the Patriots for the first time since 2011, and NFL, you should have done the Falcons for fuck's sake. That way I could have had a second Super Bowl rematch to start the year again. And although the Chiefs seemed to although 2011 was the last time they went there in the regular season, remember they went there in the 2015 divisional round, which although the Patriots kind of spanked them pretty much, they did have the score only by a touchdown, so that means they probably could be somewhat competitive, but come on, man. There's no way they're going to easily beat the Patriots. The Patriots will easily win this one. And of course, as we all know now, we're going to have one less game this week because of Buccaneers at Dolphins being moved to, I think it was sometime in November. I can't remember the exact date because of Hurricane Irma. Now, of course, I'm a little curious about this, NFL, because your options were change it to November or move it to a neutral site. Why wasn't the option of, hey, how about we do the game on Thursday or Friday like you've historically done the last two times when the Dolphins had to move games because of a hurricane? I remember in 2004, it was Hurricane G. They moved the game hosted Steelers was going to be at 1 p.m. They actually moved up to Sunday night for some reason. I'll have to look that up again for that. And then 2005, when Hurricane Wilma went for Florida, they were going to play Chiefs on Sunday, and they did what I said. They moved the game to Friday night. So I don't see why you couldn't do that instead of forcing the players to play 16 straight away games, because I was looking forward to seeing Buccaneers at Dolphins, but now I gotta wait till November to see that. Now with that out of the way, we're gonna get to the 1 p.m. game starting up with the Jets going to the Bills, and oh boy, these teams are terrible as shit. Believe it or not, I'm actually not as confident as probably everyone else. Everyone's probably thinking, oh, the Bills are gonna easily win, but remember, the Bills were definitely a much better team than the Jets last year. And the Jets spanked them both times. They swept them, for crying out loud. And remember, that wasn't close at all, if I remember correctly, when they played the Bills last year on Thursday night when they went there. So I don't think this year is going to be easy for the Bills either. But overall, I still do think the Bills are going to get their revenge this time around. And then it's the Falcons going to the Bears for the first time since 2011, I believe. And funny thing, too, the last time the Falcons were at the Bears was in 2011 was also Week 1 as well. So let that fight and have that happen again as the Falcons begin the season, hoping to try and avoid another Super Bowl hangover, which I don't know if it's going to affect them as bad in 1998. Remember 1998 when they lost to the Broncos, that Super Bowl? They were 14-2. The next year, they went 5-11. And, of course, that also probably because they were hosting Super Bowl that year, that also probably inflicted that curse much more, plus the injuries too, especially to Jamal Anderson. And of course they got to play on the road because their stadium's not going to be probably finished in time till next week. But gotta warn you, Falcons fans, not just about a Super Bowl hangover, but the Bears could possibly shock you. I mean, you got spanked last time when you hosted them. As a matter of fact, the last time after that since you played them was 2014, and they spanked you too. And the Bears were a horrible team in 2014 when you hosted them. So we've lost a couple. We haven't beaten them in a couple years and stuff like that. So don't be surprised if you actually lose this game. But I still think you'll win it overall in the end. But don't be surprised. Then it's the Ravens going to the Bengals in an exact rematch from how the season ended last year, which, thank you, NFL, for finally not making it be Ravens at Bengals to finish off the season, although they're still going to play each other at the end of the year. Why don't you let the Ravens play the Browns or Steelers for once for a regular season finish, for Christ's sake? But, of course, Flacco, I still have no idea if he's going to be playing or not. Because at first it was supposed to be like he was going to be out for the first 2 weeks. Now I think he's practicing now, so he might be able to play next week on Sunday. But who cares? It doesn't matter who fuck Ravens are starting QB. They're not at all going to beat the Bengals, for crying out loud. They have not beaten the Bengals in Cincinnati since 2011, I believe. And for crying out loud, they destroyed the Ravens last time. Big Flacco threw like 3 picks in that game, too. So yeah, Bengals are going to easily win this one. And then it's the Steelers going to the Browns. And just like the Ravens and Bengals, a rematch, although the stadium's flipped since the Browns were at the Steelers the last time they played. And, whoo, boy, you know this, Joe Hayden's going to want some big revenge in this game. He's probably going to go all out in this one. And, of course, Deshaun Kaiser's going to get his debut. And, oh, boy, he's going to have to deal with that tough Steelers defense. And, of course, no secondary to stop Big Ben or Antonio Brown. So, oh, God, the Steelers are going to easily crush the Browns here. And then it's the Cardinals going to the Lions for the first time since 2015. And, oh, boy, I was about to say how far both teams have fallen, although I do think the Lions are going to regress a bit. The Cardinals completely collapsed, remember, last year, although I think they're much better than the Lions overall, because I don't trust the Lions at all. I remember the last time the Cardinals were at the Lions 2 years ago, they destroyed them, and of course they'll say, oh, that was before, when the team was still struggling, when they start off 1-7 before finishing 6-2 the rest of the way. But of course, like Stafford got that contract extension for 5 more years for over $135 million, the highest paid player in the league. The fact that he had 8 fourth quarter comebacks, to me, although that's pretty impressive, that means the team barely won those games, and a team that's supposed to be really good should not have to keep doing fourth quarter comebacks. They should just outright destroy teams pretty much. And I do not trust the Lions at all. They're like my least trusted team. So although I won't be surprised if they win, I'm just going to say the Cardinals are going to win. And it's the Jaguars going to the Texans. And of course, I can't. Although I was about to say they'll probably destroy the Jaguars, but the Jaguars almost pulled the upset last year, remember. But of course, I still think the Texans overall will win. I still haven't looked up yet who's starting, if Deshaun Watson or not. But either way, I don't think it's going to really matter who the Texans start. They should easily beat the Jaguars. But how the way the Jaguars played last year, I guess I won't be surprised if the Texans somehow lay an egg and let the Jaguars get a W from this one. Then we get to a game that the NFL should have done Monday night, but I'm really pissed off they didn't do this. And that's the Raiders going to the Titans for the 3rd year in a row. And boy, I can't wait for this one. Sucks I'll be forced to watch Ravens and Bengals instead because I'd rather watch this. These two, like I said, play each other 3 years in a row now. And all of them have gone right down to the wire, very close. Remember, I think it was 2015, the Raiders barely pulled off a comeback to get that win. And last year was a defensive holdout in week 3 at the Raiders won by just 7 points. So, this one could go either way, especially with the Raiders' defense still not looking really good. And the Titans look much better overall team, especially that much more stinging defense. And, of course, as long as Marcus Mariota doesn't get an injury bug and stays in the game, I think the Titans might actually finally pull it off this time, but I won't be surprised at all if the Raiders win, since they have done it 2 years in a row. And it's the Eagles going to the Redskins. The Eagles have not beaten the Redskins in the FedEx Field since 2013, and although the last, I was about to say they got spanked last year. Actually, I think it was just 2015 they got spanked by the Redskins. Last year was pretty close. I think they led until like the last minute, so I think the Redskins will win, but you can't underestimate the Eagles here, so I won't be surprised at all if they pull off either. Then we get to the 4 p.m. game, starting with the Colts going to the Rams for the first time since 2009, and the Colts' first appearance in LA since 1991, but of course that was when they were playing the Raiders. The last time they played the Rams in LA was 1989, so almost 30 years back. And of course I found yesterday they're not going to start Andrew Luck, which, and again, to me, it doesn't really matter who they start. I think the Colts will still somehow pull it off, even if it's just a nail-biter. But seeing how they're not starting Luck, maybe I won't be surprised. Maybe the Rams somehow will beat the Colts in the end, but I just don't see it really happen right now. And then it's the Seahawks going to the Packers for the 1st straight year, and oh god, why NFL? Like I said in my reaction video to the schedule being released, why is this a 4 p.m. game? The Packers destroyed the Seahawks when they play them. Remember, fucking 2015, that was Sunday night. The Packers had to make a big comeback to win it. And then last year, remember, 38-10? Russell Wilson threw like 5 interceptions or something like that. Come on! The Packers destroyed the Seahawks for crying out when they hosted for crying out. And that's going to be the case this year, as the Packers, I think, will destroy the Seahawks again. Come on, that game should have been at 1. But then we get to the final 4 p.m. game, and that's the Panthers going to the 49ers for the first time since 2013, as the Panthers will make their first regular season debut in Levi Stadium, and of course their second debut since that Super Bowl 50 loss. And oh boy, now the Panthers are probably gonna make a big bounce back from that from the hangover last year. But of course, the 49ers are not going to be easy when they're at home. Remember, they're always quite difficult no matter how shitty they are. However, I think that home field advantage won't be enough, as I think the Panthers will somehow pull it off. But I won't be surprised if the 49ers somehow get it. And then we get to the Sunday night game, and that's the Giants going to the Cowboys for... Oh my god, this is the third year in a row the Giants haven't gone to the Cowboys to start the season. Can't it be something else for once? For God's sake. And of course... Zeke, I found out, might be still facing that suspension, which is bullshit, but he's still able to play tonight, so that's going to be a major factor in probably helping the Cowboys win tonight. I mean, on Sunday, I meant to say. But of course, remember, the Giants did give Cowboys their only two of their 3 losses last year as they swept them, so... I mean, they're close, so it's not like they spanked them, so Cowboys still could possibly win, but at the same time, the Giants... put a number on them, but I think as long as they have Zeke, I think they might just somehow pull it off, but I won't be surprised at all if the Giants somehow pull it off either. And then we get to the 2 Monday night games, starting with the East Coast game, and that's the Saints going to the Vikings for the first time since 2011, and boy, ain't this gonna be interesting. High-octane Saints offense against a very stingy Vikings defense, and also AP going against his former team. You know he's gonna want some sweet revenge against them. Although he's going to be pounding the fuck out of that Vikings defense any more than he did the last, like, decade in practice. But although the Saints... Because last time the Saints went to the Vikings, they destroyed them pretty much. Although that was when the Saints were their last, like, best year. And the Vikings were terrible then, too, with that worst defense, pretty much. The Vikings, I meant to say, have not beaten the Saints since 2008, I believe. And it's been even longer since they last beat them at home. But this time around, although the Saints' offense still would probably be not only still awesome, but it might even be a little bit better since now they have AP hopefully to get a good running game, which they haven't had in many years. I think overall the Vikings defense might hold down the Saints just enough to barely pull off the victory, but I won't be surprised here if the Saints get it. And then we get to the final Monday night game, and the only game on the schedule this year that I intentionally probably will not watch it fully, since that's not going to enter like 1 or 2 in the morning for me, and that's the Chargers going to the Broncos, as the Chargers play their first game as the Los Angeles Chargers since 1960, and I'll never forgive them for moving. And of course, the Broncos barely have a good record against the Chargers since the last 5 years. I think they're 3-2 when they host the Chargers. And the Chargers, they're not like a 5-11 like they were last year. They're way better than that, for crying out loud. They're just a good team that can't stop blowing losses in the end. That has a major injury bug affecting them too. So I think the Broncos will win it, but don't be surprised if the Chargers somehow pull it off. That could easily happen too. So those are my picks for week 1. I can't wait to see all the games. I can't wait for kickoff tonight, and I can't wait for all Sunday and the 2 Monday night games. And of course, also based upon the last like 3 years when it comes to my picks, I usually have a very, very, very good record to start off the year. I remember like in 2015, my record was 14-2 in week 1. Last year, I believe it was 12-4. And then the next 2 weeks, it'll be like 7-9 or something like that, as we're starting to figure out what the teams are actually good, are really shitty. The teams that we thought were shitty are actually good. So hopefully I'll get a good record to start the year, and hopefully week 2 and 3 won't be as bad. But I can't wait for the season to start tonight as much as you all probably can't wait either.